One of the biggest things that holds people back from creating a balanced and clutter-free life is their mindset. This is something that I realized right at the beginning of my decluttering journey because even though I knew I was making the right decision to get rid of all of the extra stuff cluttering up our home, I still had a lot of fear and all of these negative emotions welling up inside of me. So as I was trying to psych myself up and find the courage to get started, I came across this quote about fear. And it made me realize that all of the things that I thought made it impossible for me to let go were fences that I had built myself and existed only in my mind. And maybe right now you're feeling like I did back then, standing in front of these tall and ugly fences built out of fear and guilt. And you find yourself hesitating because you're afraid to take that leap of faith since you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side. But as someone who successfully decluttered 30 years of stuff, I am here to tell you that life is so much better on the other side of clutter. So that's why today I wanted to share 7 mindset shifts that can help you overcome the mental barriers holding you back so that you can let go of all of the clutter in your home, no matter if it's physical, mental, or emotional. And that's going to give you so much more space to live a lighter, happier, and better life. So if that sounds good to you, do me a favor and hit that like button and let's dive into this list. Number 1, you can rewrite your story. All of us see the world through the lens of our own experiences, and the experiences that we have shape our beliefs about ourselves and about the world around us, which in turn becomes part of our story and the narratives that we repeat to ourselves over and over. I know that when I first started decluttering, one of the negative stories that I was telling myself was that I was being bad or ungrateful for wanting to let go of these things that had belonged to my parents or my grandparents, and I just felt these waves of guilt washing over me. But over time, I was able to realize that not only was that untrue, but I was actually doing more good by letting go. Because not only was I better able to honor myself and the memory of my loved ones by surrounding myself with the things that I actually love, use, and need, but then also I was able to give those things that I didn't want the opportunity to go on to make someone else happy, whether it was by selling, donating, or giving away those items. So I challenge you to start to notice and question the stories that you're telling yourself about your home and the things inside of it, as well as the things that you can and cannot do. Because the words you speak become the house that you live in. The stories that you tell yourself can either hold you back and keep you in a place of fear and guilt, or they can give you the confidence that you need that you can overcome any hurdle that life puts in your path. Mindset number 2 is that objects are not equivalent to people. So along with my previous point, in order to rewrite my story, I had to learn to stop seeing objects as symbols of the people that they belonged to. Because like I said, I had all of this stuff left behind by my lost loved ones, and it felt like when I was contemplating getting rid of this stuff, I was having to say goodbye to them all over again. But what we have to realize is that our relationships and our memories don't live inside of the things that we own, but rather inside of us and our own hearts. And so if you're like me and you feel like getting rid of something that belonged to a loved one that you lost, or maybe that was a gift from someone that you want to protect the feelings of because you care about them, you need to learn to detach the emotions and the relationship with that person from the stuff that you have from them. And when you're able to detach emotions and memories from physical stuff, it makes clearing the clutter and making space for you so much easier. Mindset number 3 is to banish the absolutes. This is a mindset shift that is still very much a work in progress for me because I still catch myself doing this all the time. Right there, I just did exactly the thing that I'm trying to tell you not to do.
Because I still catch myself doing this
all the time.
What I'm talking about here is absolute language, which basically means that you have an all or nothing mindset about all sorts of things. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to use examples related to decluttering. So when you say things like, everyone else's home always looks so nice, but mine is always a disaster, or things like, I'll never be able to declutter the garage because there's just too much stuff. What you're doing is you're putting all of this pressure on yourself, and it's black or white. You either succeed or you fail. But remember, both language and life operate on a spectrum, and when we think and speak in absolutes like this, we're failing to capture the complexities and nuances of reality-based living. And we basically set ourselves up for disappointment and failure if we're not 100% perfect all the time. So if you can shift your mindset and declutter this kind of extreme language from your vocabulary, you're going to be much better equipped to handle all of the ups and downs of decluttering and be much more empathetic and less harsh on yourself. As I said, this is still something that I'm working on, and that's why I'd like to take a moment to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy, and that way BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's through a text or a chat or a phone call or a video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. And if your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. And one of my favorite things about BetterHelp is that I can get the same level of quality and professionalism that I would expect with in-office therapy, but with a therapist that was custom picked for me based on my history and needs, with a fantastically flexible schedule and at a more affordable price. Right now, you can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/A2ZenLife, that's HELP, or you can find my special URL linked in the description box and pinned comment below. And thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Number 4, focus on what to keep. Another powerful mindset shift that you can make is to shift your focus from what you want to get rid of to what you want to keep. Shifting our attention to the things that truly bring value and joy to our lives can help us get better at setting priorities and making more intentional choices. By concentrating on what you want to keep, you shift your attention and energy to the positive aspects of decluttering. That way, instead of feeling negative and overwhelmed by the process of letting go, we become energized and inspired as we curate our belongings to create a space that aligns with us and our values and goals, which in turn allows us to create an environment that supports our well-being and fosters a sense of calmness and clarity. Number 5, you can like something without needing to own it. A lot of us have this knee-jerk reaction that when we see something that we like, we've been conditioned to want to buy and own that thing. But what we need to realize is that it is possible to appreciate and enjoy things without needing to own them. And there are a lot of other and more important considerations that go into making a purchase, such as asking what value an item will add to your life, or thinking about where you would put that item in your home and if you have the space for it or not. Not to mention if you would actually use it in the first place. I'm having flashbacks to all the nail polishes that I bought because I liked the color, but then never actually wore because in reality, I hate wearing and maintaining nail polish. If you love nail polish, please don't be offended. This is a me thing, and I think it looks super cute on other people, and I totally think that it is a perfectly legitimate way to engage in self-care if it's something you enjoy, but it's not something that I enjoy, and therefore it was an important fantasy self item for me to let go. This small mindset shift not only helped me keep a ton of clutter out of my home, but it also saved me a ton of money. And if you're interested to know more about the minimalist habits that help me lead a richer and more fulfilling life, make sure to go check out this video that I link up here for you. But especially if you're someone who has a shopping addiction or you tend to impulse buy things that you don't need, consider making this your mantra and repeating to yourself, I can like something without needing to own it whenever something that you know that you don't want or need catches your eye. Number 6, decluttering alone is not enough. Decluttering is great, but on its own, it can only take you so far. Decluttering your physical space by removing unnecessary items can help you regain space and restore order. But focusing only on the physical act of decluttering doesn't address the underlying habits and mindset that were the root cause of the clutter to start with. And without fixing those underlying causes, the clutter is bound to come back sooner or later. I saw a motivational poster the other day that read, "Old ways won't open new doors." And I think that's the perfect quote here. Because even if you declutter, if after that decluttering is done, you keep doing things the way that you've always done them, and you keep running your home the way you've always run it, nothing's going to change. So to achieve lasting results, we need to take a more holistic approach that combines decluttering with things like mindful consumption, organization strategies, and other intentional living practices. And if you need help with that, you're in luck, because that's exactly the sort of thing that I preach on this channel. So if you haven't already joined us, make sure to go down and hit the little red subscribe button and ring the bell to turn on all notifications so that you don't miss any of the weekly videos that I'm sharing here that teach people the A to Z of simplifying their homes and restoring balance to their lives. Now on to the final point. Number 7. The universal properties of clutter. A lot of us tend to overcomplicate and overthink the decluttering process, and we look at all the kinds of clutter in our homes and we get caught up in all of the fears and worries and emotions. But if we take a second to pause and step back and we break down our understanding of our home down to the most basic and simplest level, the universal truth that we are confronted with is that everything in the universe is made up of only two things: matter and energy. So this mindset shift is a total game changer, because not only does it help you understand that the things in your home have a mass and they're taking up physical space, but they're also requiring an energetic contribution from you that requires you to buy, store, clean, maintain all of these things. Did you know that the heavier an item is, the greater the pull of the gravitational force that item exerts on the things around it? And this is why not even light can escape a black hole. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I think that the same principles also apply to decluttering. Because the more excess stuff you have, the more it weighs on your mind and the more drag it creates on your energy. It can be a bit heavy to think about, but basically everything that you own, you're literally trading your physical space and expending energy for the privilege of owning that thing. And I think that when you realize this universal truth, you're going to be a lot more thoughtful going forward as to whether or not you're willing to accept those trade-offs or not. I hope that I've challenged you to think about your life and your home and the things in it in a brand new way today. And if you enjoyed geeking out with me over that last mindset shift, I encourage you to go watch this video on the 7 secret laws of decluttering that's going to take your clutter clearing game to a whole new level. Or I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.